Hey guys, welcome to Farm Charm Chic. I'm Emily. Today's episode is all about thrift flips and I am so excited to show you these. This video is also part of a collaboration playlist, but I will explain more about that later on in the video. If you enjoy crafting, dupes, DIYs, hacks, thrift flips, or just creating in general, I would love if you would consider subscribing. We have a lot of fun doing all of those things on this channel. And if you do like what you see in today's video, remember to hit that thumbs up button. Let's get right into the thrift flips. I picked this sign up at a garage sale last summer and I absolutely love the little faux shiplap slats that are in there. Now this sign is cute the way that it is, but those colors do not match my house. They're kind of a little dark and drab for the fall colors that I do. So I'm excited to brighten this up and make it every day. So I take it out to my garage and I just sand it down really good with my electric sander so those letters aren't going to be peeking through the paint. And then I'm just using my little fingernail file here to do a little touch-up sanding if there were any areas that I needed to focus on, or once I got it under better light, I could kind of see some areas I needed to sand a little better. Then I just take a baby wipe and make sure that all of that grit and everything from sanding, all the dust, is totally off of it before I start painting it. I really like the black color that is on this frame, and it makes it so simple to leave it that color, and it really works with the project that I'm doing. So I just tape it off so I won't get any paint splatter or anything on that. And then I just take some chalk paint, and this is where you can customize it to your own decor. I really like the white shiplap look, and so I'm just painting white chalk paint over these slats here. I do one good coat, let it dry, and then go back over and do a second. You can do however many coats it would take to cover your project. Just know that when you're using white paint, you can kind of see my first coat there is not super, doesn't have a lot of coverage, so I'm just using my heat tool there to kind of dry that quickly so I can kind of move through this. The second coat has a lot better coverage since it is that farmhouse style and it is rustic. We want it to look a little bit aged. It's okay if you can see a little of that original base coming through. Now I'm just going to remove the frame to reveal that black portion of the frame, and I will go through and sand all of the edges and the corners to make it look even more distressed. It was already beat up kind of a little bit, so I decided just to embrace that since it is farmhouse, and we're just going to sand it a little bit more and make it a little bit more aged. Now, can you see those slats where the shiplap is? You can see the paint pooling there. I really liked how that looked. It just kind of gave it more of that aged look. Now, I got this frame at Hobby Lobby. It was on their clearance. So it was about $5, it looks like there. And I loved how this looked. It was the perfect size for this. You could do whatever shape of wreath you have, whatever color, make it for Christmas time, fall time. You can change this out however you would like to do that. I have this thick burlap ribbon, and so I am just going to make this hang from the burlap ribbon. So I just cut a length of that, and then I am just lining the edges of that ribbon up. Now, I really wanted this to be sturdy hanging from this. I didn't want it to go over the top of the frame to the back. I kind of wanted to put it underneath, if that makes sense. So I just kind of pry that shiplap a little bit until it opens up there. And then I'm just going to feed that burlap ribbon through over to the back edge. Once I have that through and I have my slat pressed back in place, I am just going to cut that ribbon off. It only needs to be over just a little bit. You don't need a lot hanging there. And then I'm just going to use some hot glue to kind of give that a little bit of extra security. I glue the base portion and then the middle, and I just press that down until it's dry. Now, it does have these little sawtooth hangers. I do take one of those off. I use a hammer to place it on the back there so I can hang it the correct direction. However you would like to hang it is up to you, or you can even just lay it, stand it up against something. So now I just had to decide if I wanted the wreath to go in front of the burlap ribbon or behind. I chose to leave it behind. That's a matter of personal preference. I am so pleased with how this came out. I absolutely love this. It is perfect for everyday farmhouse. I can even change the wreath out for different seasons. Next time you're at your thrift store or a garage sale, look for these staple pieces like this that maybe you don't love the design and you saw how easy it was to change and make it super neutral. Today's video is part of a thrift flip collaboration playlist, and I am so excited for you because all of these beautiful friends of mine have gotten together to create thrift flip DIYs for you. You will find the link to the playlist down in my description box. I will also pin it to the top of my comments so you can easily find that. You'll just click on that link and it will take you right over to the playlist and begin playing all of the wonderful videos from today's playlist. This collaboration is hosted by Leanna over at Leanna DIY, and our special guest is Donna from Creative by Nature DIY and Decor. I would like to thank Leanna so much for putting this together every month and working so hard on it. She is amazing. I will have a link to both of their channels down in my description box, and you get all of these wonderful friends of mine creating thrift flips just for you to give you the inspiration that you need, and they are all so talented, so make sure you visit that playlist and you say hello to each and every one of these friends. Let's get back into the thrift flips. When I saw this vase at my thrift store, I knew I had to have it. I did not love that caramel toffee color of it, but it had a great shape, and I really thought that I could take it from this Venetian look to make it more of like a French farmhouse look. Now, I easily could have spray painted this, which would have been probably a little bit easier, but the day that I was painting this, it was very cold outside. I was not able to get out and spray paint, so I just decided to use some chalk paint. So just so you know, there's different options if you're not able to spray paint or if you prefer to do that. But this one, I went back and forth between using the little sponge brush there and just a chip brush, whichever was giving me better coverage. There was a lot of little like pock marks almost in this, like little indents and stuff that I needed to kind of zhuzh that paint into to make sure that I had the full coverage that I wanted. So it did take a minute to kind of get this covered, but I really like how the coverage turns out. It's so fun to be able to get something from a thrift store and tailor it to your decorating style with colors or different types of things. So just know you can customize anything like this to match your decor. Now, I first started sanding this because it has all these little raised areas on it, and I thought I would try and sand it. And as you can see, it literally was like eating my sandpaper. And I didn't want it really to ruin my fingernail files if it was doing this just the sandpaper, because those are a little bit expensive, the kind that I buy. So I ended up going to chalk paint, like an elephant color chalk paint or just like a gray color, and I would dip my finger with a baby wipe on it into a little bit of the paint and then lightly brush over each of those raised areas. I did like how this looked, but I actually wanted a little bit of a deeper, like more, have that pop a little bit more, if that makes sense. So I eventually switch what I'm doing. I go all over like this, and you could leave it just like this. Now, if I wanted it to sand a little better, what I should have done was put wax on all those raised areas or on different areas, so when I went to wipe it off or sand, that paint would come off easier. So that was the mistake that I made with sanding, so just in case you want to know that. But what I ended up doing is just taking a chip brush, and I'll just dip it in the gray paint. I kind of take a little bit off of it by putting it on a paper towel, and then I lightly go over those raised areas. And I really like the way that this distresses it, and this comes out and brings all of those little raised details, how it makes those all pop, and it gives it that very vintage, aged look. I love that. I think this turns out absolutely beautiful. It is so fun to be able to change out the different florals for different seasons. It is neutral enough that it can be for everyday decor. I love how this turns out, and I loved how the detail ends up looking. What do you guys think of this little vase here? Do you like it better when it was the caramely color, or do you like it better now? I picked these little hanging jars up for like little floral arrangements at a yard sale, and I've been hanging on to them. They were only like, I think they came from Gordman's, but the lady that was selling them only sold them for like $1 each or something like that. So I took both of them, and I'm just unscrewing the little piece there that holds the jar on. I do apologize for that little shadow up in my corner there from my cord hanging there. It does go away in a minute, but you guys, I didn't even realize it till I came to edit, so I'm sorry for that. But I just give these a good coat of white paint to cover that design. I could have sanded it down, but just for time's sake, I just went over it with some white chalk paint. Again, you could customize this to whatever color matched your decor. It would be fun to even put like a type of scrapbook paper on there for a different design if that gold geometric pattern was not your thing on there. They were beautiful the way that they were, truly, but I really just wanted them to match a little bit more of my decor, and I don't have a lot of gold in my decor right now, so I thought it would be fun to make these a little more farmhouse. So I give them both each about 2 good coats of paint to cover up all of that geometric design there, and then I'm going to add some fun little details onto them. I wanted to make almost like a barn door look for both of these. And so I'm just using these jumbo craft sticks that you can get at Walmart. And I'm just kind of going to cut and make a square frame, if you will, that goes around the edge of each of these. And then I'm going to have a cross piece as you see there. So when I lay my square frame out, how I get the angles to cut on those craft sticks is I'll lay it like this. You can kind of see I end up putting the frame over them so I can trace a little bit better. So I have that at the angle that I want. I will place these 4 pieces around it, and you'll see I'll just trace the angles there. So I know that those will fit right in just like puzzle pieces there. And these cut with scissors, you just want to go slow, but your scissors will cut right through those, and you can see how those angles look there. I thought they looked so cute like this. You could even do like a barn X. They weren't quite as wide as to do that. So what I'll do is these little holes that are on the back, I'm just going to trace through on the back of the craft stick so I know where to punch a hole. And I'll just use my little crocodile to punch a hole. That's so I can reattach the jar on there. And then I use a combination of super glue or hot glue. Probably super glue would just be enough. I just wanted to have that little bit of immediate hold with the hot glue there, but you just have to be careful with hot glue. You don't get too much because then it will kind of raise up a little bit. So just be careful of that. And you can see just like a puzzle piece, that piece piece there fits right in, and I just love it. So now I'm just going to go over and paint the little wood pieces there white. You could do whatever color you wanted to stain those or anything like that. I just wanted it to kind of match. And then I'll go in and distress them a little bit and make them truly farmhouse. The first step that I do is I sand all of the edges down with my fingernail file there, but you really wouldn't have to do this step. You could just move right on to distressing it in other ways. So I put a little bit of antique wax on a baby wipe. I wiped it on and then I would wipe it off. And then to give it a little bit more dimension, I just went around lightly with the edges. You can see there's just a little bit of antiquing wax on the edge of this, and you could do wax or you could do any type of just a little bit of brown paint with some water in it to water it down a little bit, or even some gray or whatever to kind of age it. And then I just screw back on the jars there, and then I'm just showing you here that you can put a little bit of this Spanish moss down in there to fill the jar if you don't want the jar to be completely clear. And I'm just taking some Dollar Tree florals to stick in to kind of add a little bit of greenery in here. You can change this out for different seasons, do different types of flowers, anything like that. Here is a look at them plain without any florals, so you can see how cute they look, just basic like that. Here's just a couple of little spring flowers here. These were my daughter's favorites. They loved the pink flowers in there, which they do look very beautiful in there. And then here's some different Dollar Tree florals in there. These are from their little spring line that they have. Those even look beautiful in there. And then here is just a little bit of greenery, and I love that as well. What do you think of this? Do you like how this turned out? Don't forget that I'm on Instagram also. I love to meet new Insta friends, so I would love for you to come over and say hi, check out my page, and see all the latest projects that I'm working on. I'll be sure and leave a link down in my description box so you can easily find me. This is a really fun, simple one. I picked this little orb up at the vintage market days that I went to a couple of months ago, and I wasn't too excited about the color of it. I bought it with the anticipation that I would be painting it, and I thought this was the perfect collaboration to do it in. So I'm just using my chalk spray paint there, and I just go all over. Since it is open and it is that sphere shape, you do want to go in, make sure you get all of the edges, kind of wait for it to dry, and then turn it and spin it and make sure that you cover up all of the colors. And then I do just take my emery board. You can take sandpaper, a finger sander, whatever you like. You could even, if you don't have a sand, like anything to sand it with, just use some chalk paint, like of a darker color in there to help age it. The sanding on this actually worked really well. You did not get a lot of that turquoise color coming through. It actually sanded all the way down to get like the original color of the metal orb. And so I really like how it turned out. I did take this plant from IKEA and took a couple sprigs off of that. I thought it would be fun to kind of see what it looked like, to put a little bit of greenery on the inside, since I am trying to go for that really white and really green look. You would not have to do this, but I thought it kind of was fun, and I actually like how it ended up looking with everything together. This is just one of those perfect little items to have to kind of stick in a little pocket that needs a little something extra or on a tiered tray. I really love how this turned out, and it was super simple and super quick. It was so much fun showing you guys all of these thrift flips. I hope that you enjoyed them. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming to watch my videos, and for those of you who are new or coming from the playlist, welcome. I am so glad that you are here. I would love if you guys would consider hitting that subscribe button so you can always see the fun inspiration that I am bringing you. If you did like what you saw in today's video, remember to hit that thumbs up. And again, that playlist link is going to be down in my description box, so you can click on that and watch the entire playlist and see all of the other fun DIYs and thrift flips that the other creators have made for you. Please let me know if you guys like seeing thrift flips. I will keep them coming. It is so fun to go find these different pieces and change them into something that is truly beautiful. And although you may not be able to find the exact pieces, it hopefully inspires you that when you do go thrifting or at a garage sale or anything like that, that you can see something and say, oh my gosh, I know exactly what I would do with that, or I have an idea I want to try with that. So let me know if you enjoy these thrift flips down in the comments there. You guys, as always, I want to remind you to be safe, be smart, be nice, be happy, choose to have a good day because you are amazing. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed the video that you just saw, here's another one that you might enjoy. And as always, remember to like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching and have an amazing day.